What's up, wrestling fans? How's everybody doing today? As we know, it's a tough week to do videos with collabs with everybody because of the family situations. Everyone's on a vacation or visiting somebody, or family's coming over, family's going home. Just stuff is crazy because it's the Memorial Day weekend, here in the U.S. at least. So I decided that State of the WWE usually goes about 45 minutes to an hour. Not really sure that's what we're going to get today. I'm not really sure how much, even if, to be honest, I shouldn't even mention State of the WWE because I don't know what I'm doing here. But I do want to talk about some of these wrestling stories. Let's get to the number one thing. First of all, thank you guys for subscribing and thanks for watching this video. Hope you can click that like button, share it. What's the deal with this Hatch thing? That's what everyone's asking me about. Joe, what do you think about this Hatch thing? What's going on? Is it Bray Wyatt? I don't think it's Bray Wyatt because Bray Wyatt's been tweeting other kind of cryptic things that don't relate to this. So I feel like if it was a Bray Wyatt sort of situation, you wouldn't have him, tweeting out and messaging out other things. You would just have him not saying anything, I would believe, and then it would make sense that it's him. Why would he? So I don't know. It could be some sort of swervy thing, but I think that honestly, maybe Bray Wyatt coming back will be more interesting than whenever this Hatch thing is. For all we know, the Hatch thing is like a WWE's collector edition or something. I have no idea. No idea really what it is. We'll find out maybe some more on Monday Night Raw. I guess it's doing a really good job of generating interest because everybody's freaking out about it, asking me about it, going crazy. It says it looks like something, basically will be revealed when Raw happens with these tweets. It says keep out. There's like a garage. Don't really understand what the hell that means. I also took a look back at NXT. I watched it finally from the other day. We went live for Out of Nowhere, so I missed some of that stuff. And, the women, Nia Jax, I expected her to win, and she did. No Way Jose is super over. I think No Way Jose is the type of over in NXT right now that, like Adam Rose or somebody like that, because he's blowing up social media, so that's something the WWE loves, right? Usually gimmicks like this, what happens is people love it, and they ride it for like 6 months, maybe a year, but usually about 6 months, and then eventually it starts to go away. It starts to die down a bit because No Way Jose's whole thing is really his gimmick, his look and his charisma. That whole thing is what he has. His wrestling, he's not doing anything crazy in their wrestling ability-wise. It's very old-school WWE style. It's really harkens back to the the original kind of WWE style that No Way Jose is doing. Nothing wrong with that. It's working. It's just that it's eventually it's going to simmer down a bit. And in translation to the main roster, I don't know. Will he get the sort of Adam Rose treatment when he gets to the main roster, or the Ascension treatment when he gets to the main roster? If he ever gets to the main roster, while we're talking about that already, I don't know. Or will he get the New Day type of deal? Will people just think it's a lot of fun and go with it? Wrestling fans like that stuff sometimes. It's hard to say, but who cares at this time? Ride it out in NXT because those people are going to cheer for him at this time because they're having fun with it. The Jose chants are going well. Here's a dumb story. John Cena t-shirt was pulled. One of John Cena's new t-shirts was pulled because it looks like a Pab Blue t-shirt or something like that. I'm trying to see if I have it on my desktop. I thought I saved it on here somewhere. It's ridiculous. It's like, first of all, I don't understand how people can sue for this type of stuff. Here it is, right here. It says, never give up, loyalty, respect. First of all, why? Here's the first question I have. Why would WWE themselves want to associate John Cena with a beer? You know what I mean? Obviously, to mock the beer or maybe it was the designer that did it and somebody else didn't catch it and didn't realize it. But I just think it's really weird that they would even have this t-shirt out in the first place based on what they are like. Maybe TV14. Maybe TV14 is going to hatch, guys. Maybe they're going to open up that garage and it's TV14 that's going to hatch out and there'll be a big enough. Imagine that. If that happened, the internet would blow up. if WWE went TV 14, the internet would explode and WWE would be going crazy. It'd be on fire. That is not going to happen. But somebody tweeted me that earlier, and I just thought that was funny. So I wanted to bring it up. Also, want to let you guys know. Let me see, where is it here? I don't want to play my ads. Okay, good. Here it is. If you guys want to get alerts when I go live, sometimes I go live on Twitch and on my gaming channel and other places like that. If you want to get alerts or special breaking news items, maybe like once, twice, maybe the most I've ever texted is 3 times in a day. If you want to get breaking news or alerts when I go live, all you have to do is 200 people have already done this. Text JCS to 43506. If you add 43506 as a contact in your phone, you text JCS to it, you will be enrolled in the Joe Cronin Show text alert. So you guys will get personal text from me about breaking news, about wrestling stories, or about if I'm going live out of nowhere for some reason, or if I'm going live somewhere, whatever it is. You're going to be in the loop. There's 200 people that are in there, and we've had good feedback on that so far. So text JCS to 43506. Write it down, get it done, and you'll never miss anything we post or do again. Many of you guys told me you missed Mike Bennett from TNA being on my show. You didn't even know we were going live for it because YouTube didn't alert you. Wow. Oh, no, don't play that ad yet. Not yet, bro. Not yet, bro. You got to text JCS to 43506. That way you don't miss when we have celebrities or wrestlers on the show. We had 200 people watching, and I had hundreds of people tell me they never got an alert. So we would have had probably 1,000 people watching Mike Bennett from TNA. The Miracle joined us, and it was not a miracle because nobody ended up seeing it live. You guys saw it when it got uploaded, though. So anyway, what do I think about that T-shirt? I think that's stupid. So WWE's changed the T-shirt now and made it some generic John Cena, like it's a round sort of graphic. I would have kept it. Screw it. So what if they want to sue you? What are they going to sue you for? That's John Cena's symbol there. There's John Cena there. Who cares what they made it look like? I don't know. To me, it seems weird. But it seems even weirder to me that it would be like if they did a Budweiser shirt for John Cena. You know what I mean? Like they did Budweiser, but it was John Cena. Just seems like something WWE wouldn't do. So why would WWE do something that's sort of something that would be done during the ruthless aggression era? Obviously, the greatest era of all time in WWE, in my opinion. Obviously, some people would probably argue the 80s, but I obviously would argue that it was the Attitude Era. The Attitude Era, no doubt, was the funnest time in WWE. I think the Ruthless Aggression Era was when some of the mid-card wrestling got better. So I would say that was an interesting time for that, but somebody asked me what was my favorite eras in order. I don't know what era you would call, because there was the 80s, that 80s era, the Hogan era kind of. Then there was that kind of 90s era. That's what we're in right now. We're in the new era, ERROR, by the way. I would say that my favorite time was the Attitude Era. No doubt about it. Attitude, number one. And then number two would be, maybe the 90s or the 80s, that time. Whatever 1987 to 1996 is, whatever that was. I did like it. Even though, probably because I was a kid more than anything, but there was still some good stuff that happened throughout that time. So I would say maybe the Attitude Era, then that era, then Ruthless Aggression Era always to me was on the lower side of things, just because I kind of stopped watching around that. I didn't enjoy it too much. And I every time I came back to it around that time, I found myself, kind of turning it off. I wasn't a Cena person, but I'll tell you what they were doing in Ruthless Aggression Era was definitely better than, so it's not really, though, to be honest. Like, the wrestling right now in WWE, the wrestling that's going on in WWE right now is some of the best wrestling that you've ever seen. I mean, really, honestly. Even, and it's because of the whole NXT movement, to be honest. Like, even in the Attitude Era, I love the Attitude Era. And, of course, there's some memorable matches that were huge. But when you look at the actual wrestling style, it was just that classic WWE thing. Go in there, punch him, bad guy, slam him, do your gimmick, somebody wins, and get out of there. It was a lot of that stuff going on. But now it seems like more than ever, WWE is focused on, like, listen, it doesn't just have to be the main event that everybody watches when they watch this pay-per-view back. You got to watch it back because Kevin Owens and Sami Zayn might tear it up. You know, Adrian Neville might tear it up. The Shield versus Cody Rhodes and the Rhodes family, they might tear it up. You know, the Usos might tear it up with Luke Harper, with the Wyatts a couple of years ago at Money in the Bank. You know, you don't know where the matches are going to come. The women are now good. So it's just... And you can go back to WrestleMania, and you can use this as an example. Like, people say, like, oh, they had to get Brock Lesnar on the card, and they had to get Ambrose on the card, so they didn't want to do anything too violent because that would take away from what Shane McMahon, The Undertaker, were going to do later, and what Triple H was going to do with Roman Reigns. And maybe they didn't want Sasha Banks to win because that'd be a big win for her, and people would mark out, and they didn't want that. They wanted that for Roman later. Now, there's some truth to that. They kind of went a little bit of that old school booking at WrestleMania because I believe of Roman. They went back to that old traditional old school booking of we're going to make the main event, you know, supposed to be the big deal. I mean, but then you could argue, well, then why did Shane jump off the cage? And maybe it was they wanted co-main events to steal the show. They wanted nothing else to do that. And maybe that's what it is. But honestly, right now, as far as I'm concerned, and Vince Russo, I know that Vince Russo doesn't like these NXT people. He doesn't like Sasha, I guess, and Kevin Owens. I'm dying to get Vince Russo on my show because I think he's out of his fucking mind. But and I love Vince, but I don't know what he's talking about. But here's the thing. I love stories and storylines and characters as well. And we're not getting that part of it. Funny enough, in the Attitude Era, we got 90% storylines and characters, and we got like 10% wrestling. The wrestling was secondary. It was all about the storytelling, but it was the best it ever was. But right now, to be honest, the wrestling, even though we still want to get more wrestling, we want the wrestling to get better. We still want it to get better. The wrestling is better than it's ever been right now. That is undeniable. You cannot deny the wrestling is better now than it ever has been. And if you could somehow take the storylines of the Attitude Era or just take some of that charisma of the storytelling and the storytelling capabilities and the booking of the Attitude Era and insert it into the best time in wrestling for wrestling in the WWE, I'll tell you what, you potentially could have yourself an amazing show. The reason why WWE's ratings are dying are because the writing is just sometimes makes no damn sense. And first let's give them credit because sometimes it's awesome. They get us with stuff, with returns, with the Money in the Bank turns, the Daniel Bryan Triple H exchange a couple years ago at SummerSlam, those type of things. They've really gotten us. Like, they've really done a good job with many of those big spots in the writing. But much of the casual writing or mid-card writing is just non-existent. And I don't even blame the writers because from what I'm told, they've had great ideas and they're shut down. So I don't know who it is. Is it the writers? Is it too many writers? Is it Vince? Is it this guy? Is it that guy? I don't know. And you know, I never... Vince McMahon created this whole thing, and he's worked great before. That's why I don't say, like, get rid of Vince, or, like, Vince created this. I'm not one of those people on the internet that's, like, they say terrible things, like, oh, I hope Vince fucking goes away. Like, that's terrible. Vince McMahon created this whole thing. I just hope that he comes to his senses and get Russo back or something, okay? Because let these guys... if I ran WWE, I would beg... If I ran WWE right now, I would beg Paul Heyman, Vince Russo, and I would get maybe Jim Cornette and somebody else. I would get all the big heads. And my friend, we would have a fucking roundtable discussion. Every week, we would have a roundtable discussion about where people are going and what's happening. And as Vince McMahon, I would make it clear. I want to hear all your ideas. We're all going to talk about going a certain place, and we can argue over it, but once I make my decision is final. Don't give me shit about it. But I want all these minds to get behind the round table. And then once we decide on these characters, these ideas, and where we're going, I get Vince Russo, I get some of the newer writers now, the modern day writers, together and let them write. Bring it back to Vince like they used to. Bring it back to Triple H and Vince. Get everybody in there, man. You would have an all-star team of wrestling brains and knowledge, with Vince being the say-all and all these gigantic minds. And now some people would say there would be World War III in those meetings. But you know what? If you pay Cornette enough money, if you pay Paul Heyman enough money, if you pay Triple H and Vince is there, and Vince Russo, if you pay all these guys the right amount of money and just say, listen, guys, you're going to get paid. Don't suicide your career over one man's direction. But at least these guys' voices are in there being heard. It would be phenomenal. And there are many reasons why maybe that wouldn't work. And behind-the-scene reasons and interviews and stories and whatever that we could be told that would be why that's a crazy thought of mine. Or vendettas. I know that Vince puts Paul Heyman on television. He doesn't really use him in the back anymore. And the last time Paul Heyman ran SmackDown kicked major ass. The last time Paul Heyman ran SmackDown, it kicked major ass. But there was all kinds of controversy between the McMahons and Paul Heyman. And Paul Heyman admittedly thinks, I believe he said something about he needed to step back. And Sabu recently, in an interview with Title Match Wrestling, Sabu mentions that Vince McMahon purposely has Paul Heyman employed so he doesn't go somewhere else. And also makes him go on television when Paul Heyman doesn't necessarily want to manage. He wants to be a writer or wants to be working in the back. That's what Sabu says. How credible that is, I don't know. You'd have to ask Paul Heyman. Hey, Paul, you've retweeted me and talked to me before. Paul, at Joe Cronin Show on Twitter, Paul Heyman. If you ever want to come on the Joe Cronin Show and explain this, I would be happy to hear it. It would be great. I extend the olive branch to Paul Heyman. Perhaps you guys can all tweet him. Also like to tweet Jericho and tell Jericho that your friend Joe Cronin is right here whenever you want to stop by Jericho, making comments about WWE writers lying on hack podcasts. Well, my friend, my hack podcast in one day gets more views than yours does. So na. Suck my ass. Let me drink this. So we're here at State of the WWE, episode number 61. I'm having a blast. I did try to get everybody here, guys, but we couldn't line up. Lots of guys could do it at this time and that time, but I do want to shout out everybody right now. Shout out to my partners, JD from NY206, JD from New York. Shout out to Justin Bailey, the Best There Is podcast. Shout out to Devious Dave Rose. Shout out to Jesse. Shout out to Jake DeMarco, who co-hosts Monday Night Raw with me usually. And shout out to OK Fabe, Connor from OK Fabe. And he's going to work on getting Bill Apter over here. I want to talk about Bill Apter's book. So I've been wanting to do that for a long time, and I think I will be able to soon. So let's get back to this, some more of this sort of WWE news, I guess. Let's see what else there is to talk about, because I really don't even remember. I also want to give a special shout out to Rich Brennan for coming on the show. If you guys missed my interview with Rich Brennan, former WWE NXT announcer and SmackDown announcer, we did a pretty good interview with Rich Brennan, and we're going to have him on again eventually. If you missed that interview, just go back a few videos, and you'll eventually get it. He was on with me and JD. Also want to announce that me and JD will be doing a mock draft Wednesday for Out of Nowhere, SmackDown versus Raw. JD just out and announced that I'm getting SmackDown on his off the script. I don't know where that came from. There was no coin flip. There was no discussion. There was nothing. There was no paper, rock, scissors. JD just said, Cronin has SmackDown and I have Raw. Well, so I guess the deck is stacked against me already. I don't know why I drew SmackDown in the eyes of JD. But anyway, that being said, also want to give a shout out to Real Mike Bennett, at Real Mike Bennett on Twitter. Mike Bennett coming by for that interview as well for TNA Wrestling. Again, if TNA wants to extend the invitation and allow their wrestlers to be on my show, I would be happy to pay attention to the product more, and it would be relevant for me. Right now, it is not still. I did enjoy watching some of the episodes with Mike, because what they're doing over there is really pretty good, actually, and I really want to get more invested, but if I get nothing back, there's really no need for me to be invested in the product, because the views aren't there right now. But if I got the wrestlers for interviews, got reaction from TNA, I'm working hard to try to work with them. You know, I've even extended to Global Force Wrestling as well. Jeff Jarrett has been on the show a few times. We've had Dustin Starr, who's going to be wrestling for a title. Please look up Dustin Starr on Twitter and everywhere else because he's going to be wrestling. It's going to be a big deal. Seth Rollins turned 30 the other day. Happy birthday, you bastard, to Seth Rollins. I can't believe I'm going to be 32. I'm 2 years older than Seth Rollins. What the hell is that about? What else we got? Hornswoggle appeared Kurt Hawkins in a match, and Kurt Hawkins said, let's make this go viral for this weekend. They put Nunzio, or Little Guido, rather, up on Hornswoggle's shoulders. Hornswoggle is going to be appearing at Top Rope Promotions, by the way. One more plug, guys. June 4th. It's coming up. June 4th. It's this coming Saturday in Bridgewater, Massachusetts. I will be there. It's going to be steel cage matches. I'll be doing the commentary. Come by to Bridgewater, Massachusetts. Say hi to me. Hang out. Have a good time. X-Pac is going to be there, as well as Tito Santana. Arriba. A little bit more WWE news coming up in just a second. I'll be right back, and we'll get to some more WWE news, and I'll make some points.
Cronin rage in video games on twitch.tv/Spectrum Gaming 617. Follow him now, twitch.tv/Spectrum Gaming 617.
Hey everybody, it's Terry Reynolds, former WWE Diva, and you're watching and listening to The Joe Cronin Show. If you want to get a video message from me, and I would love to do one for you, go to celebbium.com/Terry Reynolds, and I will be so glad to do a happy birthday, happy anniversary, happy whatever message just for you.
If you guys want to talk aliens, spirituality, the world around us, space, time, and all kinds of conspiracies, then you got to check out our other channel, Final Frontier News. Live every Tuesday night. Final Frontier News, the podcast now available on iTunes.
Frontier News.
What's up, wrestling fans? Do you want your product, your page, your website, your band, your whatever it is, advertised? You could have been advertised right here during this break in the show. It would have been that simple. All you'd have to do is go up here to advertise, click on advertise, and then get it going. Choose your amount of plays you want for the year, and we will play you for that amount of time. Guys, if you want to advertise, go to joecroninshow.com or joecroninshow.net, and we'll get you in here. To get the greatest t-shirt in the entire fucking world, then go to ProWrestlingTees.com. Yeah, go up to the apparel section, go to podcast online media store, click that sumbitch, scroll your way down. You see all these other douchebags, don't forget them. Click on Joe Cronin Show, and then you can buy the hashtag fact Joe Cronin t-shirt right here on ProWrestlingTees.com. Order the shirt now and get yourself Joe's face on your chest. ProWrestlingTees.com.
Want to support the Joe Cronin Show? Then go to patreon.com/Joe Cronin Show. You can support with only $1 a month. That's $12 a year. And Joe Cronin appreciates the fuck out of you for it. Become an insider and get special perks for doing it. Support the Joe Cronin Show on patreon.com.
Also, more wrestling news, guys. It's State of the WWE episode number 61, guys. I want to shout you out. Thank you to Michael B. and Starscream and to LLKJ for being recent Patreons on patreon.com/Joe Cronin Show. It's the only way to really guarantee that I can continue to do this part-time. Of course, the live donations have been killing it. You guys have been nailing it. But certainly, if every single person that watched this video now were to give 60, well, I guess you can't do less than $1 anymore. So $1 or $2 a month to me. If you think my show is worth $1.50 a month or $1 a month to you, please feel free to go to patreon.com/Joe Cronin Show and support the show. If we ever somehow get to like $3,000 or something like that, well, then I can quit my job, and this will be my full-time job. I'll cover wrestling daily for you. Breaking news will go live. Right now, it's the luck of the draw if I'm home from work to cover stuff. But if we do ever get that much support to get to that area, get more equipment, that would be phenomenal. You guys know that although I bought a new computer, I'm going to be buying another new computer so that streaming will be better, but you guys have killed it. So I absolutely appreciate that. Follow me on Twitter, at Joe Cronin Show, guys. Vince McMahon, Stephanie, Triple H, and others to be deposed in a concussion-related WWE lawsuit. This comes from WrestleZone.com. Nick Hossman over at WrestleZone.com. Just a great platform. And they're talking about, and they basically pulled this source from PW Insider, as most do. Stephanie McMahon, Vince, and of course Triple H looking to go to court to represent the WWE, still in these Chris Nowinski lawsuits or whatever that's going on as far as these concussions go. It's pretty crazy. Vince McMahon and Triple H will be part of the lawsuit. McMahon tomorrow and Levesque on the 31st. WWE medical doctor Chris Amon and Chris Nowinski of the Sports Legacy Institute will also be there for the deposition. And Dr. Joseph Maroon, the head of WWE Wellness Policy, was also gonna be there on May 20th, or I guess he already was there on May 20th. LaGrasso, Singleton have pushed for a continued deposition of Maroon, but WWE has argued against this. So there's this big kind of tug of war going on right now between the WWE, the courts, this concussion situation, Chris Nowinski being called in, just these former wrestlers attacking and suing the WWE, or attempting to at least, just like the NFL, just like all other sports are doing this with head injuries. Wrestling is always a funny thing because you can jump off the top rope, land on your back, and your whole body smashes. Your head, your back, your body, it crashes and rakes and smashes that canvas over and over again. But it's so funny because you can literally smash yourself around and pretty much be okay, not really have an issue. But concussions always come when your head gets hit and you're caught off guard. It's weird. So, like, you can jump off and land on your back and jump off and land on your back and flip and land on your back, and it seems to be okay. But if someone were to slap you hard enough when you weren't looking and your head snapped back, you can get a concussion. It's very bizarre how it works, how head injuries work. Because when you, and part of it is you're bracing for impact. So when you brace for impact, the least amount of force is being applied to your brain, even though you jump from a high area or from 13 feet up in the air off a ladder or whatever it is. And people tend to be okay. But, you get hit in hockey when you're not looking, blindsided in the head, and you're done. So it's just amazing the delicacy and the fragility of where things go. And how many slams does it take? How many backdrops does it take? Or is it those high impact moments when you catch a knee and get knocked out? It's really, those are I believe you would think, where the real injury comes from, because that's obviously what happens in sports. Everybody commenting on this, and the comments are just all over the place. So I'm not even going to read those on at least on wrestling's WrestleZone. AJ Styles, where does AJ Styles go from here? I mean, to be honest, what does he do? I mean, he's been buried. He's buried. There's no way you can get around it. Okay, you can be. Listen, I do love the WWE, but I have a heavy criticism for them as well. You cannot get around the fact that you buried AJ Styles. I'm sorry, he's buried. There's lots of other times when the term buried is absolutely freaking stupid, and there's no need to say buried whatsoever. It's the dumbest thing. But in this case, right now, there is no chance in hell you can argue against me that he's not buried. Try to tell me that AJ Styles is not buried. He lost to Chris Jericho at his first WrestleMania. His first WrestleMania, loses to Jericho. Okay, make your arguments. Let's move on. But now AJ Styles goes up against Roman Reigns. He loses clean, bro. He loses clean to Roman Reigns. Great match. Makes Roman look strong. And then what happens? AJ Styles goes up against Roman Reigns again. Styles clash. Styles clash on a chair. Multiple finishing maneuvers on Roman Reigns. Then multiple chair shot after chair shot after chair shot. Then he goes for the phenomenal forearm off the rope. Roman gets up. Super Jesus gets up and spears his ass. And he loses then and there and clean. His buddies in the club sandwich, couldn't get it done with him. He couldn't get it done. They couldn't get it done with him. Therefore, although they did win their match against the Usos earlier, all the club has done have come in here and created a sissy argument with AJ Styles about you're supposed to be my boys and we're friends and help and you booked weak as hell. They came in looking great. It looked like it was going to be a good deal. Booked weak as hell. The club is buried. Number one. But more importantly, AJ Styles is buried. He loses to Roman Reigns. That is now 3 major losses. WrestleMania, WWE Championship match, WWE Championship match. 3 major losses. He has 2 guys interfering to help him as well and still can't get it done. 3 major losses. Right there, 3 major losses. Then what happens? The night after, on Monday Night Raw, a qualifying match to get into the Money in the Bank ladder match. AJ Styles' buddies don't come out to help him. And he loses to Kevin Owens clean in a qualifying match for the Money in the Bank. 4 strikes, you're out. You are fucking buried by a company that I have no idea what they're doing. If you give AJ his WrestleMania win, okay. If he loses to Roman twice, okay. If he wins against Kevin Owens and gets put in the Money in the Bank ladder match, he's not buried. You could be upset about the booking. You could be mad as a fan that he didn't win the title. But you cannot say then really that AJ is buried. I'm sure some people would still say Roman buried him, but he wasn't really buried. But that is not the reality. It's what I just told you. 4 horsemen, 1, 2, 3, 4 burials for AJ Styles. He's freaking buried, bro. Grab the knife and just chop it away. It's over, bro. It is over. You are buried. You are super buried. Because you know what? You could have easily had him face somebody else than Kevin Owens and had him beat them and go to the Money in the Bank while still contesting and having issues with the club or whatever they're doing. They could still do this club fighting storyline. It would be easy to do it, by the way. It would have been what I said. I said this weeks ago, I'd be really mad if this happened. I said I'd be mad if the club came out and costed him the win or distracted him, and that's why Roman beat him. But they wanted him to lose clean to put Roman over strong. I get that. But then you could have had him saying, why didn't you guys help me like you're supposed to? Or why did you guys even come out here? They could have just gotten in a big thing, and they could still be where they're at while making sure AJ was looking good. There is no way around the fact that AJ's buried. I don't care who you are. I don't care if you work for the WWE. I don't care if you're a writer. I don't care if you're a wrestler who's like this stupid internet troll with a show. My show gets more views than most of your shit, and that's all that matters. I get over 80,000 views a day on my channel. Do you get over 80,000 views a day on your channel? So I don't care. You can say that that it's a hack, that it's nonsensical, that I'm a troll, that I don't know wrestling, that I hate wrestling, that I'm a smart mark, that I'm a loser, whatever you want to say. That is 100% fact. If you don't think that AJ Styles is buried, you're fucking delusional. My name is Joe Cronin. This is the Joe Cronin Show. This was a shorter episode, unfortunately, because of the holiday weekend of State of the WWE, episode number 61. And I hope you guys enjoyed episode number 61. I want to remind you to join my texting army, my personal text messages coming to you about when I'm live, when I have breaking news, or when I have something shocking to tell you. Text JCS to 43506 and you will be enrolled and get the text messages when you need to get them, guys. Thank you so much for watching. Please follow me on Twitter, at Joe Cronin Show on Twitter, the best place to interact with me. And if everybody can, please tweet Vince Russo. Go tweet Vince Russo right now and tell him to get his ass on the Joe Cronin Show. I have some things I got to ask Vince Russo. Check Vince Russo out at vincerussobrand.com. Follow me on Twitter at Joe Cronin Show. Make sure you do it that way. And then also patreon.com/Joe Cronin Show. That's patreon.com/Joe Cronin Show. That is where you can go to support the show and get exclusive inside type of deals. There's some information, too, that will get you put ahead on the call list. So when we go live, we'll take your calls first. I hope you guys are having a good weekend, a good Sunday. More videos to come. And, of course, tomorrow I'll be home as well, so more videos coming probably all day long on Monday, leading into our live Monday Night Raw review that night. Thanks for watching State of the WWE. Go back and watch all my other videos. There's a ton of videos. I have over thousands of videos on my channel, guys. Go back in chronological order if you want, and go catch up on some of the wrestling videos, some of the wrestling news. And I hope you guys have a great day. My name is Joe Cronin, and I'll see you in the next episode of State of the WWE next Sunday, and I'll see you tomorrow night live on my channel. Gaming tonight, so if you guys want to be a part of the gaming, make sure you follow me and subscribe to youtube.com/SpectrumGaming617 and twitch.tv/SpectrumGaming617. I know I've given you a million plugs in this video, but if you can somehow manage to sit down, listen to the plugs, go to these links and places, and support me everywhere, then I know we can kick some ass. Thanks for watching. Bye. Drinking this drink, bye. Because I'm bye.